Okay, today we're going to talk about friction, and friction is a force, obviously, so the units are newtons. Friction always opposes motion in all cases. And we can calculate the force of friction if we know something called the coefficient of friction, which we'll talk about in just a second, and the normal force. So the force of friction is the product of the coefficient of friction and the normal force. All right, so the coefficient of friction is specific to a particular surface pair, and incidentally, it is experimentally defined. And what it reflects is the stickiness between that surface pair. So for example, the tires of your car are made of rubber, we'll say. Rubber on asphalt will have a higher coefficient of friction than, say, rubber on ice. The symbol for coefficient of friction is a Greek letter mu, mu, and we calculate the coefficient of friction by taking this ratio here. It is the force of friction over the normal force. Obviously, both of these are measured in newtons, and so they both cancel, and therefore the coefficient of friction is unitless. It is, again, just a ratio between the force of friction and the normal force. There are two different types of friction that we want to think about. There is static friction and kinetic friction, and as such, objects have a coefficient of friction for both. So there is a coefficient of static friction and a coefficient of kinetic friction. And the coefficient of static friction is always greater than the coefficient of kinetic friction. And you can just think of this as it is more difficult to get an object moving than it is to keep it moving. So if you're going to push a car, you have to exert a lot of force initially. Once it's rolling, you can kind of keep it moving. And again, so that just shows us that there is more stickiness if the object is stationary than if it's already moving. So you'll often get a question like this where you have a basic free body diagram. So here is a 4-kilogram box on the surface of the Earth. We're given the coefficient of friction, and it says we're going to use 10 meters per second squared for g. We know there's a force applied of 10 newtons in that direction. And the question might ask you to calculate the acceleration of the box. So to do that, we need to first figure out this force of friction. And as you remember, the force of friction divided by the normal force is going to give us the coefficient of friction. So we can rearrange that, as I said before, to say that coefficient of friction times the normal force is equal to the force of friction. So in order to do that, we need to first calculate the normal force. In this case, the normal force is going to be completely opposite direction, equal in magnitude to Fmg, because it's a flat surface. So if we calculate Fmg as being Fmg equals 40 newtons, and we know that the normal force must also equal 40 newtons. Now, in order to calculate the force of friction, we're simply going to multiply our coefficient of friction of 0.1 times 40 newtons. And of course, we're going to get that the force of friction is equal to 4 newtons. So we can now plug that in, 4 newtons. Now from here, we just need to write a Newton's second law equation to sum the forces in the x and y direction. In this case, obviously, there is no net force in the y direction because we have 40 newtons pointing down and 40 newtons pointing in the opposite direction, which I'm just going to label as negative. So we really only have to work in the x direction. So to do that, we say that the sum of the forces x direction is equal to, well, the force applied minus the force of friction. And I know that friction always opposes motion, and I can see that this force applied is greater than the force of friction, so I know intuitively that the box will accelerate. So I've set this direction as positive, and therefore this direction will be negative, which gives me this simple equation right there. And now if I plug in my values, I know that I've got 10 newtons force applied, minus 4 newtons here, and of course the net force is going to be in the x direction, 6 newtons to the right. Now with that in mind, we can use F equals ma, and we can solve for the acceleration of the box, which I will allow you to do since you've done it many times already. Okay, so now we have the same situation. The only difference is that instead of a flat surface, we have the box on an incline. And the question will ask you to calculate the acceleration of the box down the ramp. Again, we are going to say this box is 4 kilograms. We're going to say that g is 10 meters per second squared, excuse me. And the coefficient of static friction is going to be 0.1. And you're usually, in this course, you'll always be given an angle down here, and we'll say that the angle of the ramp, theta, is equal to 30 degrees. So you probably recognize now we have a little bit of an issue, and that is that we don't have a nice, perpendicular coordinate system to work with, unless, of course, we change our perspective, which we're going to do right now. So obviously gravity points straight down in all cases, you know that, and the normal force is going to point perpendicular to the surface. Friction always opposes motion, and the object is going to want to slide down the ramp. So what we can do is we can make this our x component, our x direction, and make this our y direction like that, and now we can just take mg and break it into its x and y components and figure out what part of the force of gravity is going to be accelerating the block down the hill. Part of the force of gravity is going to be in our y direction, and part's going to be in our x direction. And we're only interested in the part of gravity that is in the x direction. That's what will accelerate the box down the ramp. So in order to break this into its components, we need to think about one more thing, and that is that this angle right here, you might remember from your other math classes, which we'll just call this, by the way, theta 2, and that theta is equal to theta 2. This angle here and this angle here are exactly the same. By the way, before we go any further, there is, as I said before, a component of gravity in this direction, which we usually call the force perpendicular, or the perpendicular force. And over here, we would call this the force parallel, or the parallel force. And that is the component of gravity that is directed down the plane. So now you can see we've got ourselves a nice right triangle. This, of course, is our opposite. That's our hypotenuse. And this would be our adjacent. So in order to calculate the force parallel, we simply need to go ahead and say, well, it's sine theta times mg is going to give us the force of gravity down the ramp. And in order to calculate the force perpendicular, which, by the way, is going to be equal in magnitude and opposite direction of our normal force, we need to say, what is the cosine of theta times mg? Now that we've broken mg into its components, we now understand what the force will be down the plane. We can also calculate the frictional force that's opposing that, because we now have the force perpendicular, which will unlock the normal force, or the magnitude of the normal force for us. And again, to solve for the force of friction, we just need to say that the force of friction is equal to the coefficient of friction times the normal force. So your homework is going to be to solve this problem. Knowing what you know, what is the force parallel down the plane, and what is the acceleration of the box? Bring that to class tomorrow.